Today on Guest Your Kitchen, we're starting our Hanukkah series, and I am going to show you a dish that is so common on the Hanukkah dinner table. You are going to love it. Let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Jill and this is Yes Your Kitchen. If you're new here, welcome. It would be an honor to have you join us as we explore retro history through food. I can't think of a better way. So today we start our Hanukkah series because we're just moving right along through all the end of the year holidays. So right off the bat, if you're interested in the story behind Hanukkah and why we use oil and why it's 8 days and all of that, I did that last year when I made latkes right there, which are also a very mandatory Hanukkah delicious dish. But for today, we're gonna do an apricot noodle kugel. What? Well, if you don't know, a noodle kugel is like a sweet baked noodle pudding. It has the custard holding it together, and there's all kinds of fabulous flavors. And this one comes from my family, so we've been making it for a long time. But kugel goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. So noodle kugel is a very sweet dish, but it originally started as a savory dish way back in the 12th century in Germany. Jewish housewives it didn't start as noodles. It started as bread dumplings, and Jewish housewives would take like a stew, some kind of stew, and put, kind of like our chicken and dumplings now, like they would put bread dough, on top of the stew and let the steam from the stew cook that. And this was called kugeltopf. Kugel meaning bullet, which is kind of like the shape of the dumplings, and topf was the pot that they would cook the stew in. And it was very, very popular. And like I said, very savory because it went on top of stews. So kugeltopf became so popular that it kind of had different name variations for what kind of stew you were making. But then someone finally said, we just need to call it one name and that's going to refer to everything, and that turned into kugel, which is what we call it now. So in the 1500s, don't worry, we'll get there. In the 1500s, instead of the bread dough, noodles or rice were starting to be substituted for the kugel. And then in the 1600s in Europe, they started making the dish sweet. Then here in the US, from German immigrants in the 1800s, it kind of turned into the baked noodle custard that we know today. And it is a Hanukkah staple. And really, every family that makes kugel has a different recipe. So this is mine. There's so many different flavors, but I'm gonna put a spin on mine and make it apricot, and it is fabulous. And really, it's good any time of the year, but it's especially nice during Hanukkah. So here we go. I have in my happy, very big bowl, one 16-ounce package of broad egg noodles. I've already cooked them according to the package directions. You wanna go maybe about 6 or 7 minutes, no longer than that because they turn into mush. And then you want to put them in a bowl on the side and just let them cool to room temperature. So now we're going to make the custard that the noodles are going to take this amazing bath in. So let's get this out of the way for now. So here in my medium happy mixing bowl, I have one 8-ounce block of cream cheese. I already did a step ahead. It is softened, and I was just stirring it around a little bit to loosen it up. So what you're going to do now is you're going to add 6 eggs right into that cream cheese. You just definitely want the eggs to solidify your custard. So I am gonna sit here and I'm gonna stir this. You're gonna do the same thing. It doesn't take that long, but I'm not gonna make you sit here and wait. And I'm just gonna keep stirring it. I'm probably gonna bring out my whisk as well until the eggs and the cream cheese are incorporated. So we'll be right back. So here are our eggs. So it's not completely broken down, but that's fine because who doesn't want to find a little piece of cream cheese in their noodle kugel? And now you're going to add everything else that's going to make this just fantastic. You want a 16-ounce container of sour cream. This is definitely not a Weight Watchers dish, which is probably why it's eaten once a year, although it is fabulous any time of the year. And then a half a cup of sugar, a half a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm sorry, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Almost cut you short there. And then you want, whatever you find, you want apricot preserves. There's your apricot flavor. You just want, I bought an 18-ounce jar. You can use an 18-ounce jar. You can use a 12-ounce jar. They come in both, and it just depends on how much you want. I've used almost all of it. See, that's just fine. And now you want a 1/4 cup of melted butter. And you want 1 tiny pinch of salt. I keep my salt in a little sugar container, and that way you can control it. So, I mean, literally a pinch. Just a little thing to brighten it up. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead. I'm probably gonna bring my whisk out again. And whisk this all up. Give me 1 second. So your whisk is definitely your best friend with this recipe. And now our custard mix is done. So now we're gonna bring back our noodles. And once they're cool, you know, the starch kind of gets them to stick together. You wanna just kind of go through them a little bit and just kind of make sure they're all, not completely, but separated enough. And in goes our glorious, glorious custard. And then you just want to mix that around and incorporate it until every noodle has met the custard, and we have just one happy little party going on in this bowl. But we're not quite done yet. We have one more dairy ingredient to go, and that would be 1 16-ounce container of cottage cheese. Yes, cottage cheese. You really need to trust me on this. I know cottage cheese is not everyone's best friend, but it is just very, very classic in this dish. As a matter of fact, even if you find the plainest of plainists of kugels, you will find cottage cheese in it. It just, with the sugar and everything, it just makes it absolutely fabulous. Now we're gonna bake it. So I have a 9 by 13 that is well greased. And you're just gonna pour all your noodle mixture right into your baking dish. I am getting so excited already because I know how amazing this is. And the apricot just makes it amazing. Can you use other jellies? Probably. I never have. Apricot is it, and it works so well. Okay. Now we're gonna make a little crunchy topping, because who doesn't want a little crunch? So this crunch topping is so easy to put together. So in my happy little bowl, and I think I actually broke a record for the most happy little bowls in one episode, I have 3 cups of cornflakes, which I crushed. Super easy. Take 3 cups of cornflakes, put them in a Ziploc bag, roll them with the rolling pin, and they're crushed, or you can easily, they're like delicate enough, you can just crush it with your hands. But I'm gonna give you a close-up so you can see. See, some are crushed finer than others, but there is enough to make a really nice crunch. Okay, to that, we're gonna add 6 tablespoons of butter and 1/4 cup of sugar. I left a little behind, but that's okay. This is already a very sweet dish. And you just want to keep stirring it until that butter and sugar are all incorporated. And this would probably make a very delicious snack on its own, but this is what's going to top our kugel. Okay, put it all together. Now we're going to bring back our kugel, and on top it goes. And I know that you guys have some family kugel recipes out there. I would love to hear what your family does, because like I said, there are literally as many recipes for kugels as there are families that make them. Oh, look at that. This is, promise you, amazing, 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 amazing. Okay, so now my oven is set at 375, and this beautiful little thing is gonna go in the oven for an hour, and that's just gonna make your custard and noodles get all happy together. I can't wait to taste it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is out of the oven and ready. Now, you don't want to eat kugel right out of the oven. You really want to let it cool, because first of all, when you cut it, it's going to fall apart, and second of all, you're going to burn your mouth, and I don't want any of that. So I took it out of the oven after an hour, and I let it sit for about an hour 15 minutes. So make it one of the first things you're making when you have dinner, and then just kind of let it sit and you'll be fine. This is still hot. It's just not burn your mouth hot. So Hanukkah falls on different dates every year. This is 2020, and this year it's going to be December 10th through December 18th. So if you have any Jewish friends out there, wish them happy Hanukkah. I know they would love to hear it. And kugel, you don't have to be Jewish to love it. You know what happened to bagels. So there you go. Let's make kugels like bagels. It's a fabulous, fabulous, delicious noodle pudding. I've been talking long enough. I know you want to see it. Take a look. So you've got our crunchy, crunchy cornflake topping, and inside, well, let me show you inside, because it's just absolutely fabulous. And I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, But when you cook it, you definitely want to grease your pan first because, well, nothing will stick. All right, got that first piece. Nope, we're gonna be just fine. Look at that. Ah, come on out, you. There we go. That's a big piece, huh? Well, that's okay. It's really good. See, you've got your layers. You can see your little cottage cheese in there, and I promise you, it's not gonna taste like cottage cheese, and it's not gonna be overly sweet. I know we have a lot of sweet things in here, but with all the dairy we have, it balances out perfectly. It's so good. This is my childhood memories. And I hope you give it a try. At least make it once and then tell me what you think in the comments. I really don't think you're gonna be disappointed at all. I think you'll be thanking me. If you'd like to explore more dishes from your childhood or just the past, I invite you to subscribe. I release new videos every Tuesday and Friday. In the meantime, here's some more retro dishes for you. And remember, every dish, even apricot noodle kugel, oh, so good, has a story. I'll see you in the next video.